Thank you so much for hanging out here and sticking around for the analysis. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the follow. I only have this for, that's his name. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So this is going to be Millionaire Chess round 6. Okay, this is the year I won $20,000 in this tournament. Okay, $20,000, winning second place in the under 2350 section. So I mean, or not section, it was an open section, but they had a prize for under 2350. So very, very strong. In this round, I'm playing. Last name is Felican. It's like Finis Felican, something like that. But he's an international master, strong player. He's an IM, okay? He's bona fide. He's a big fella. Like, this is what he do. This is what he does. You know, he's strong. IM next to his name. Okay, so this is a very strong game here. And the previous round, which we'll get to, I'll tell you what happened later. But Florin, thank you so much. Lorgan figured that out. How'd you figure that out, Lorgan? Lorgan just figured it out, but it is Florin. That's right. Florin Felican. Thank you so much, Lorgan. So that is right. Florin played white. I played black here. Now this is what I used to play. He lives here. Wow, dang, Lorgan, that's crazy. So this is what I used to play against the English. Okay, so this is 5 years ago. This is what I used to play, and this is today. The title is how to play the symmetrical English. So if you ever wanted to know how to play the English against it or with it, you know, this is going to be very informational for you. So looking at this with the English, it starts with he actually played G3. Now G3, a lot of times, I've actually waiting on it. Yeah, bro, no problem. So G3, what happens with G3 is a lot of times they just try to throw you off. And with black, I'm gonna tell you right now, anything other than E4, I was having problems with a lot because knight F6. If I couldn't get a Nimzo Indian, I didn't really know what to do, and I didn't play Queen's Indians and stuff like that. Now I actually play the King's Indian defense, and I used to just play C5 against kind of everything because I played the Accelerated Dragon. But now, at this point, I was only playing the Symmetrical English because I didn't know what else to play, actually. Hi, what's up, Mad Queen Dog? Oh, okay, changed the name. That's what's up. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, yeah. Welcome. He lives there. Yeah. Cool. So, here we go. G3. G3's on the board. So, I follow up with C5. This is all I've been doing. I'm playing C5, you know, so this is what we went with. C5 out the gate. No problems. I'm playing my regular stuff here, okay? I've always been C5. If you know me, you know what I play, C5, right? So bishop G2, I go G6, same thing, symmetrical English. When you play the symmetrical kind of things, you kind of start out with the same move. So honestly, for me now, I'm a very attacking player, and at the time, I didn't know how or what openings I needed to play. Even I was already 2,200 over the board, so that tells you, you know, a lot about yourself, about how much you need to grow as a player to learn what kind of player you are. And I knew what kind of player I was, but I wasn't. I was playing symmetrical English, and I'm a tactical player. It doesn't make sense. So from here, though, you have to change it up, says Mad Queen Dog. That's right, yeah. So I play the King's Indian defense. I put in the work now on what I need based off of my strengths and stuff. I love tactical chess, so I play the King's Indian defense now. But you have to learn it so you don't get crushed, or else you're just gonna play boring stuff like symmetrical English, which it is boring, but you can learn a lot from it. So I do recommend it if you're just starting out and don't know what to do. So here we go. Here we go. Boom. So D3, yeah, I got you, bro. It's all wisdom we are seeing. That's right. Checkmate. The Jedi is here. Let's go. So after D3, we go bishop to G7. Everything is the same. Symmetrical English, it's the same moves, basically. Not hard, guys. Not hard. Okay, E4. Now, I'm not going E5, not just yet, usually. You could go E4, but not just yet. So after E4, I go knight to C6. I'm assuming knight to C3 is the usual stuff here. Knight to E2 and D6. I mean, literally the same thing on both sides, except my knight's not on E7, at least not yet, right? So he goes castle, and then now at this point, I have a couple ways I can play. I can play E6 to play very flexible, put the knight on E7 and play D5 later. I could also go rook B8 and for B5, more like a closed Sicilian, because a closed Sicilian does that a lot with this knight E2, F4 stuff. Put the bishop on G4, take this knight on E2, and take over the D4 square very nicely. This happens a lot, but after rook B8, B5, that's an idea. And then I could even play like Nakamura style when they go bishop D7, queen C8, H5, H4, and put the bishop on H3 and try to go that route. There's a lot of things you can do. But for me, as I know my symmetrical English, I was just playing E5. E5 at the time. So I got a nice little center going on. I mean, I'm not winning like by far, and white's doing fine. So after E5, C3 has been played. And then after this C3 move, I go knight E7. I got to keep developing. Got to keep it going. And he goes A3. Honestly, there is nothing fun about this position at all. I am not a fan of this anymore after I figured out what I need to be playing and how I'm going to grow as a player and how strong I can actually play. Man, this was not fun to play. It was so boring. I'm almost at the board like this. Like, bro, are you serious right now? This is what we planned, you know, so I'm sitting here. It's boring to me. Very boring because the A5, A3, Rook B8, Castle. Let me make a move here. Let me make a move there. This is this is ridiculous. I am not a fan of the slow positions like this. If you are, that's great. Absolutely. But I like sack mate stuff. Sup, Canty? Hey, chat. What is going on? Welcome to the stream, Mitch. What up, man? So after A5, I play A5 here to stop B4. And then he played an interesting move here. Interesting move, which is really cool, which I've seen a lot of times. A4. He plays A4. Now, what's A4 about? A4 is really, why didn't he play it in one move? Well, he didn't know. He actually wanted me to play A5 first. So now he has a permanent outpost, is what they call it, on B5. I like to sack and cry, says Ferd Absurd. You're right. So knight B5 is a very nice outpost for this knight. So he plays A4 to be able to do that, which is really strong stuff. And in the King's Indian attack, which I am a fan of, you actually end up doing this kind of same thing. A3, A4 once they go A5, and then swing in from A3 to B5. So it's pretty nice. Something to know there. It's not a wasted move. So I castle, I get out the way. He goes knight A3 to go knight B5, same stuff. And then I'm like, okay, what do I do here? I need to develop. I need to just figure this out. So I just go bishop E6. I just get the bishop out. I'm not worried. If the knight was on F3, I would have to play H6 first to stop knight to G5. But luckily, it's not there. It is not there. So permanent outposts and holes different? No, it's not a stupid question. Permanent outposts and holes are different because a hole in a position would be like, this is a hole right here. This could be a hole. You could probably try to plop a piece in here if you can, but it's not like a big hole that could be like taken advantage of at all. Like, it's just, you can't do anything about this, really. And also, this is a hole on B3, but it's not really an permanent outpost, I would say, because it's very hard to even get here too. This is easy to get to, but also I can't do anything about it. I would have to get this off with a piece, not a pawn. So that's why it's permanent. So bishop E6, and then after bishop E6, bishop E3, and F5 is always supposed to be played here. At this point, when you play in a symmetrical English and you get this kind of position, you got F5 in, you know, you got your pieces developed. Honestly, I'm already equal here. I'm already equal, and I'm like, I'm doing fine. And the guy's an international master. I know this stuff, and I'm like, I'm doing fine. Like, I'm absolutely fine here. Like, this is a drawish position, but I stopped playing a symmetrical English because I just don't want to play for draw-like positions or have these kind of positions early on in the game. It's just not fun to ever just play draw-like positions all the time. At least not for me. I'm not a fan of that. So this is just draw-like. I have to do a lot of maneuvering and stuff. Permanent outpost, whole square, rectangle. Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah, I love going for F5 stuff. Me too, man. So I thought this was going to get real nice. I played F5. He went Queen D2. And then what did I do? Queen D7. I'm like, well, same thing. Queen D7. He goes knight C4, and now you got to be careful here. There's a knight coming into B6. So how do you think I parried this threat? How do you think I stopped knight to B6? What would you play in black's position here? Would you snap the knight? Would you do something else? What would you do? Even though he has the B5 square, he's not using it. That's correct. He's not really using the B5 square. Rook to A6, Rook A6 maybe. Yeah, Rook A6. Everybody's saying Rook A6. Look at that. Everybody's saying Rook A6. Rook A6 was actually a choice. I mean, it was a move, but here's why I didn't play Rook A6. Rook A6 is like, you know, I always tell my students a lot of times, you got to remember, first off, like small problems become big ones later. So when you put this up here, later on, this is not going to be fun to have this rook here later on. So I'm going to have to waste a move to get it back into the game. So Queen D8, I'm not a fan of that either. I don't really know what else. King to E8, says Mr. Charm. I think you mean queen or rook, maybe rook E8, but because king's here. So I didn't go rook A6, not a move to me. Queen D8, same thing. So what I did, castle is right, correct. I played queen to C7. I just moved it over. Queen to C7, get out of the way. What's my plan? I just want to go rook D8 and then B6 and make this nice. And then what's funny is if something like this happens, for instance, let's just make some moves. Rook D1, rook D8, maybe like king H1. Then I can play B6, maybe B3, and then I got D5. So when I get this D5 move in, I have what we call a Maraxi bind backwards, which is nice. So now if you know what a Maraxi bind is, you get to get that with the black pieces, which is even very strong. This position is almost winning for black. It's excellent, excellent piece play there. So I was planning for that. You know, I was like, I mean, I'm fine here. So I'll play queen to C7. After queen E7, he goes back to A3 to go back to B5. I get my rook over to D8. Hey, let's go. Let's do this. Rook A to D8. I'm feeling good here. His knight blocks his C pawn, right? And you see what he did? He played one Like this knight moved 1, 2, back to a3 a third time. So honestly, I'm like, I'm doing fine. I'm doing absolutely fine here. I just need to keep this pressure up and just keep developing my pieces and better my position. I'm going to be fine. So that's exactly what happened. He played knight to a3 and then he played f3. So at this point, I'm like, he is not pushing for a win, honestly. I mean, like this just doesn't feel like win-like at all. So what do? Okay, I go b6. I finish the plan because I want this Maroczy bind backwards. If I'm able to play d5, I am going to probably win this game or very close. So what do you think he played? Oh, he stopped me. He was like, no, not today, not ever. You're not ever playing c4 because he got a clamp here. And I was like, well, dang, well, now what? Like, what do you do? Like, there's nothing else to do now. There's nothing else to do. And this is why I was not a big fan of this anymore. The symmetrical English is very nice to face the English, and it's like draw-like positions, and there's dynamicism in there. But I played it for so long to realize that I was just not a fan of this. It doesn't fit my style of play. I'm a tactical wizard, okay? Tactics are what I do. That's life. Eat, breathe, eat, sleep, breathe. Okay, my son was going to be named Tactics, but I named him after me. So, which is James. So now, right, you know, I wanted to play tactics, and this is nothing like it. Nothing like this at all, right? So this is just not a thing. It's boring. So I'm not trying to play this at all. And now the symmetrical English is very nice. It is, but at this point, I'm like, well, shoot, I don't have any other moves to make but the moves that are on the board, like knight d4. Nothing else to do. So I just play knight to d4. He trades it off, and then now we go into this closed up, ridiculously closed position. Not a thing for me. Canty walks in the room. Tactics, I love you. I mean, wife, sorry. Yeah, you're right, bro. You're right. So bishop g5, bishop f6, bishop h3. And then bishop h3, I thought this was pretty cool, taking advantage. I always tell my students that loose pieces lose games. Loose pieces lose games. What does that mean? This piece is loose. It's undefended. So if it's undefended, then, you know, there's tactics on it. So what did I do? I just defended. You got to keep all your pieces defended. The strongest players in the world, make sure all the pieces are defended. You should do the same. You probably should write that down. What do you play against the English now? I play the King's Indian defense against everything that's not e4. Anything that's not e4, because I have a book on it. I have a book on it that I'm able to, it literally covers everything. And if it doesn't cover it, then I'll find out and I'll figure it out with the engine later. And that just comes from experience and playing like you should already be doing. Why is moving the queen multiple times warranted? Well, in closed positions, you're allowed to move pieces multiple times. In closed positions. If it's not closed, then these rules are different. They drastically change. Drastically. Also puts pressure on the hanging a4. Yep, that's right. So after, can you recommend a book on the KID? Absolutely. Actually, send me a message on chess.com. I'll send you a course, actually, that I recommend on the King's Indian defense. And book-wise, I'll tell you that too, where I get it. Queen bad, defender. What you mean, the queen d7? I mean, the black queen or white queen? White queen. I think this is a pretty good defender here just because of this, but generally, oh, correct. Yeah, generally the queen's a bad defender. It's more of an attacker than a defender. It should be more of an attacker than a defender. So after queen to d7, knight to c2, he just gets his back in here. Now imagine this. You see how many times he's moved this? Knight to a3. Then he went to c4. Then he went back to a3. Then he went back to c2. And I'm not winning. Like, you know, this is not a kind of game I'm not trying to play. He moved this knight more times than ever, right? And he still didn't get anything for it, but also I did neither. So it's not the kind of games I'm kind of play at all. So bishop takes g5, takes, and at this point I am okay with a draw. I'm literally like, you know what, this is like, come on, bro, really, we playing the English here. So we just start trading stuff off. Trade. Knight to c6, put my knight here, stopping b4 potentially. His knight's not that good. You know, what is my queen doing? I mean, just chilling. You know, my king's fine. Rooks is about to be swapped off. There's no weaknesses for both sides to be exploited. There are weaknesses, but they can't be exploited. For instance, b6 and d3. So it's just not that easy, right? So after king g2, I go rook f8. Rook takes f8. King takes. He plays h3. King g7. I'm like, okay. And now I'm looking at this like, just don't mess this up. Because he's probably going to want to play this out. He's an international master. He's like higher rated than I am. So he doesn't, you know, he's going to lose points here, right? So queen to d2. I just start shuffling. Queen d7. b4. Pawn takes, knight takes, knight takes, queen takes. Queen c7, and that was it. And we just looked at, I mean, it's just like, it's just a dead draw. And he's like, he's looking at me and I'm looking at him. And then we just staring, looking at each other all crazy for a second. And then we just like, draw, bro. Like, it's draw. And then he's like, yeah, like, Draw, bro. So it is what it is. It was a draw because there's nothing else to do. And this is not like, this was never ever fun from the start. From the start. And I knew something was wrong there. It was a change. I needed to change. First off, how do you play the symmetrical English? Just like how I showed you. Let's actually run that from the beginning again so you can see if you missed it. Symmetrical English, you play all the same moves of white. Almost. Very similar. Okay, very similar. Same pawn structure here. I finchetto my bishop. I castle. Almost the same thing, right? The joy was gone. Man, this whole game was unjoyful, right? It was just boring. E5, C3, 97, A3, A5. Like, what is this? What is this? His attitude seemed draw from the beginning. Yeah, absolutely. I believe so. I believe so, because there was no aggression here, but also I didn't allow any aggression either based off my move choices. My bishop is nicely placed. My knights look good. D5 is going to be a threat. I can play F5 whenever. This bishop can stay here. If the knight's on F3, there is no knight G5, so I don't have to play H6. Saves the tempo there. B6 is nice with the D5 threat. This knight's kind of bad, so I'm doing fine as black here. It's just too many things that's wrong with, not wrong, but like I can counter very nicely with the black pieces. F5, Queen D2, Queen D7. Same stuff. You just kind of copy the moves in a way. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm just not a fan of that anymore. At first, this is all I learned. And it also cut down on theory because I play the Accelerated Dragon, which is C5. So if I'm playing against the English, C5 seems the same, which helps out a lot. Serious business with the 13 months. Thank you so much, bro. Thanks for the sub. Saying, yo, in the chat. What's up, bro? Thank you for the sub, big fella. Let's go. So this is, you know, symmetrical English stuff. I move my queen over, bring the rook over. And after b6, after he plays c4, it's an automatic draw. If he was, I mean, automatic, like, you really don't have much else to do. Taking this doesn't matter. There is no real play. I can never break with d5 or b5, and it's locked up. It's really drawish. You can ask for a draw right here. Knight d4, takes, bishop g5, and we go through this sequence real quick. There's a quick trade of literally everything. I put my knight on a better square, better positioning, stopping b4 temporarily, and then trade some rooks off because we kind of have to. King g7, better place my king. Queen goes to d2, and I just back up. Queen d7, just to keep an eye on this pawn. He plays b4. We snap everything off. And then we go this route, and the queen just sits here. And I went queen c7 so I can stop a5. I'm literally going to shuffle my king back and forth because there's nothing else to do. Not a game I'm trying to play at all. So now I play the King's Indian Defense. Fast forward into 2019. This is what I play now. After c4 or g3, I'm going to go g6. And then after here, okay, you can do the same thing. You can play bishop g2 if you like. I'm going to do the exact same thing. After, actually, g4, g3, g6. If bishop g2, bishop g7, c4, I'm going to go knight f6. Anyway, d4, d6. Knight c3, castles. And now I'm into a King's Indian Defense where I'm more comfortable here. If they go knight f3, I'll go, I think it's actually go a6 here just to switch it up. Castles and then knight c6. And I'm playing a whole different thing. d5, knight a5. Knight d2, c5, b5, rook b8, bishop d7. It's a whole different game, almost like a Benko gambit where Carlsen plays it with knight to g4 comes in, knight e5. It's a great game. I know exactly what I'm doing, but not anymore with that symmetrical English stuff. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a move. I guess your opponent had a draw in mind coming. I mean, no, he played the English. When you play the English, you don't actually look for a draw. But when somebody plays a symmetrical English with black, they like, you know, I don't want to go through all your theory there and all that stuff. And it's very draw-like many times when you play the symmetrical English. I played it twice ever in tournament play, and guess what happened? Both of them were draw games. Both of them. Luckily, one was against the International Master, but the other one hurt my rating a little bit because he was like 2100, which you know, hit my rating by a few points or something. But it wasn't not supposed to draw against the 2100, so it was tough. It was tough. But now I play the King's Indian Defense. So that is round 6 of the Millionaire Chess 2014.